What's going on, everybody? This Afro Think Tank. Listen, have you ever caught a person who was a piece of shit, like a career lifetime piece of shit, right? And you catch him doing something, and they don't want to admit that they did it, even though you got all the evidence that they did it, you know. But eventually they be like, "Oh, okay, I did it," right? And they try to pretend like they act like they are, you know, that's just as deep, how deep it goes. But and they're just, you know, they did that one thing. We caught them. Now and they're, you know, taking responsibility for their actions, right? But there's like a list of other shit that they've been getting away with, and that they continue to get away with. That because no one is highlighting it, no one is talking about it, they keep doing it. So there's no reform. The people are not really taking responsibility for the actions. They're only dealing with what they got caught with, right? Now, this has to do with European Americans and the deep well of shit that they do that they refuse to take responsibility for, and the things that they're doing right now, right? That is an abomination on human existence, an abomination. And we continue to ask ourselves, what kind of people would justify slavery? What kind of people would justify dropping a nuclear bomb on civilians? What kind of people would justify uplifting and praising their ancestors who specifically raped, murdered, and killed to get everything that they have? What kind of people are these people, right? They're the same type of people. And have they changed over the last 500 years? Absolutely not. It's the same ratio of pieces of shits, right? People who are going to do anything they want to do as long as they can get away with it, because the Christian moral values only belongs to those who, well, it doesn't belong to them. They just like to say it because it sounds good on the surface. It's the way the door look like. It's the frontal presentation that they like to have. But inside the house, everything is demonic and deep and devilish, right? Now, what we're talking about today is American European gangs that are called biker clubs, right, are being recruited by contractors to go to the Israel under the guide of contractors to protect assets of the IDF and protect assets of, you know, Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. And what makes it so disgusting is because I've been in this field for 20 years, I know exactly what's happening, all right? So a lot of bikers, right, gangs are ex-military. And I'm just going to say most military personnel, when they come to the military, they're fine folks, right? They are truly patriotic, even to the point of naivety, right? Until they're woke. And once they're woke, then you notice, if you notice even on TikTok, people like myself, most of the people that's fighting truth to power are veterans, right? That's just telling it how it is when you're a cog in that particular type of machine. But there are a lot of murderers and killers and racists who are also in the military. Cowards, right? Most of them are cowards, but when given the opportunity to kill soft targets, to use these tools that they call weapons, to kill and maim and hurt people that they think they are better than, they will grab that opportunity. Now, a lot of these people come back as veterans. A lot of them didn't do shit in combat. A lot of them was scrubbing toilets. A lot of them was fixing my sandwich. All right? Fixing my motherfucking sandwich. Bunch of bitches. Most of these veterans who weren't doing shit but supporting the war veterans who were doing the damn thing. Most of these cowardly ass veterans who never had an opportunity, as far as they're concerned, to go to war and actually be a real warrior, they come out the military and they join these biker gangs, right? And they join these militias and these groups, right? And because they're white and seemingly upstanding, right, and they're veterans, they fall under a certain qualified category, which they can be utilized by people who need people who don't have empathy but nothing but apathy for human beings. And they get recruited to be contractors, security professionals, contractors in other countries, right? And when they're overseas, away from America, under a contractor because they're not beholden by the government, they have certain leeways, right? They also have certain things about, there's certain downfalls, because if you get hurt, oh well, right? If you get hurt, oh well, right? But you can get paid an insane amount of money. An insane amount of money. So you have all these piece of shit, racist, bigoted, sexist, coward-ass veterans who come out of the military, because they weren't shit in the military in the first place, right? Or they're murderers who went into the military so they can murder, and they couldn't murder enough, so they got out, right? Joined these biker gangs, which are gangs. They sell drugs, prostitution, they kill each other, other biker gangs kill other biker gangs. This is what white people do. They're just gangs on bikes, right? They call them clubs and all MCs and the 1%er. They like all that bullshit, right? So because they're veterans, these contracting companies who need, especially ones that need them to go out to places like Israel, where they need them to have the same ideology as the Israeli soldiers, as the racist, terroristic government of the current administration of Israel. They need to get a certain type of individual to go over there to do the same things that they're doing and not snitch, right? So we have a bunch of white European biker gang criminals that were contracted, because they happen to be veterans, contracted under private corporations to go work for the IDF, that are currently killing Palestinians right now, murdering. So when you hear in the news, when you hear IDF shooting at refugees, or IDF shooting at Palestinians trying to get food, IDF shooting at civilians, and these are not only the IDF, which are the citizens of Israel who are conscripted to be soldiers, right? But white, European, American biker gangs contracted to go over there and do exactly the same thing. So we have white Europeans killing Palestinian babies, women, and innocent men over there right now. And you don't know about it because, of course, the media will never tell you that they've recruited all the, and keep in mind, the people that recruit you, they know they don't give a fuck about none of these white racist European biker gang members. They're expendable. You understand? If something happened to them, nobody gonna give a fuck. That's why they're getting paid $90,000, $100,000 of our taxpayer money to go over there and play in a sandbox and kill innocent people. Anybody shooting back? Killing innocent people. So while we look at these Russian mercenary companies, right, that they made famous, while we look at that, we have our own mercenary companies. I used to work for the biggest one. That's how I know. I'm the cog snitching on the machine, you understand? America has so many mercenary corporations that go to the Philippines and recruit Filipinos, because nobody cares if a Filipino die. Recruit Indonesians, because nobody cares if Indonesians die. Recruit a bunch of poor white folks in the middle of America, because nobody cares if they die. Recruit a bunch of Africans from war-torn countries that they tow up, because nobody cares, right? Nobody cares when they die. To conduct white supremacist missions all over the world. And currently, right now, we have white neo-Nazi biker gangs, because they happen to be veterans, contracted over there under private corporations via the government as a paramilitary force, killing and terrorizing the Palestinian people. Anyway, you tell me what you guys think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Providing armed security to guard sites where our BBC investigation has found that the firm providing armed security to guard sites where aid is distributed in Gaza has used members of a US biker gang with a history of hostility to Islam. The BBC's confirmed that members of the Infidels Motorcycle Club work for the private contractor hired by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, often known as the GHF. Well, that is, of course, the aid operation backed by Israel and the United States. The contractor said it didn't screen people for affiliations unrelated to their job performance. The GHF said it had zero tolerance for any hateful biases or conduct. Well, I'm joined in the studio by Andy Verity, who's been working on that investigation. Andy, first of all, just tell us more about this biker gang from the evidence that you gathered.
Yeah, of course, Regina. So they take their name from Infidels Motorcycle Club, English translation of an Arabic word that I think probably isn't that used that much by Muslims. The word is kafir to refer to an unbeliever or a non-Muslim or infidel. So that's where the name comes from. It was set up by US military veterans of the Iraq War back in 2006, and it's grown rapidly since then, hundreds of members. And what's really striking is the iconography of the group. So they have a skull logo, for example, on their website until recently, of the violent Marvel comic book character, Punisher. And that's a symbol which has been appropriated by white supremacist groups. And it's inscribed with the word kafir in Arabic script. Now, some wear tattoos, Crusader cross tattoos, hats celebrating the year 1095, which, if you know your history, was the year that Pope Urban II launched the First Crusade, calling all Muslims, quotes, vile race, and urging Europeans to recapture the Holy Land. So it's a sensitive subject that they're playing on. Gang members see themselves as modern crusaders. Many have these crosses on the backs of their biker jackets, or they're tattooed on their forearms or their shoulders. And we've discovered that they're currently hosting anti-Muslim hate speech on their Facebook site, and also have previously held a pig roast in defiance of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan.
And how did these bikers get involved in running security for the GHF thousands of miles away?
Well, they're all ex-veterans, and the infidels is mostly ex-veterans, and the attraction was the money. According to our sources and contract documents we've seen, they're paying each of them about $980 a day. That's about £720 every day, including expenses, rising to about $1,500 for team leaders. So if they're there all year, they can make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And we've got images of some of the people in this gang. I mean, you identified the names of some of them.
Yes.
How did you then establish that they were working for this agency?
Well, this is interesting because at first we were up against a wall. There was just one member of the gang who we knew about. That was Johnny Taz Mulford. He's a former sergeant in the US Army, and he posted a picture of himself on the gang's page, posing with a machine gun. And then there was another picture with 1095 tattooed across his chest. Now, we emailed Infidels MC for comment, and what happened was, in response, Mr. Mulford instructed his fellow gang members not to reply to the BBC, but forgot to take us off when he hit reply all, thereby disclosing email addresses and names of other members. So we got that. We also spoke to Infidels insiders, and we were able to match up names with public information about Infidels leadership to arrive at 10 bikers who are from Infidels, who are leading the teams in Gaza, where people have died. And there have been all kinds of accusations and counter-accusations. Now, UGS, according to estimates by a former contractor, at least 40 bikers are among the 320 people they've hired.
Okay, you talk about this group, UGS, UG Solutions.
Yeah.
What have they said then in response to your investigation, Andy?
UG Solutions, which, by the way, is a subcontractor for security for the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, they gave us a statement saying they don't screen people out for personal hobbies or affiliations unrelated to job performance, and they do carry out background checks, they say, making sure everyone's fully vetted. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation says it has a zero tolerance policy for any hateful, discriminatory biases or conduct. And of course, you can read more about this on the BBC's website.
Okay, so I was about to ask you that. Where can we see more of your investigation? On the BBC News website or on the app? Andy Verity, thank you very much for taking us through your investigation there.
Testimonies and videos obtained by the Associated Press show American contractors guarding aid distribution sites inside Gaza are using live ammunition and stun grenades as hungry Palestinians scramble for food. 2 U.S. contractors who spoke to us on the condition of anonymity because they were revealing their employer's internal operations said they were coming out because they were disturbed by what they saw as dangerous and irresponsible practices. Both have extensive military experience. They say the security staff on site were often unqualified, unvetted, and had an open license to do whatever they wished. Their testimonies, combined with videos, text messages, and internal reports seen by the AP, provide a rare glimpse into the workings of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the new American organization backed by Israel to provide food to the Gaza Strip's population. Journalists have been unable to access the sites, which are located in Israeli military-controlled zones. Since the GHF sites began operating about a month ago, Palestinians say Israeli troops fired nearly every day toward crowds on roads heading to the distribution points through Israeli military zones. Several hundred people have been killed and hundreds more wounded, according to Gaza's health ministry and witnesses. The military has repeatedly said it's fired only warning shots, denies deliberately firing toward civilians, and says it's looking into reports of civilian harm. AP's reporting reveals what's actually happening on the sites themselves. The two contractors say their colleagues regularly used bullets, stun grenades, and pepper spray on the sites. Videos that one contractor took during the first 2 weeks of distributions appear to back up the frenetic scenes they described. In some videos he filmed, men in gray uniforms, which he identified as his colleagues, can be seen dispensing tear gas and throwing stun grenades that land amid the crowd. The sound of gunfire can be heard. They can later be seen trying to clear Palestinians squeezed into a narrow, fenced-in passage leading to one of the centers. One photo shared by the contractor shows a woman lying in a donkey cart after he says she was hit in the head with part of a stun grenade. Another photo shows a Palestinian crying after the contractor says he was tear-gassed in the face. To confirm the footage is from the sites, the AP geolocated the videos using aerial imagery. The AP also had the videos analyzed by two audio forensic experts who say they could identify live ammunition, including machine gunfire, coming from the sites, in most cases within 50 to 60 meters of the camera's microphone. In another video, what appear to be heavily armed American security contractors at one of the sites discuss how to disperse Palestinians nearby.
Okay, got an IDF tank posted on the northwest corner now. I brought him in and talked to him. They're doing a show first. I told him to hold there. I don't want this to be too aggressive.
At that moment, bursts of gunfire erupt close by, at least 15 shots.
I think you hit one.
The camera's view is obscured by a large dirt mound. The contractor who took the video told AP that he saw other contractors shooting in the direction of Palestinians who had just collected their food and were departing. He had a clear line of sight to both shooters. He says they shot toward the exit to the site, where he could see Palestinians leaving the center some 80 meters away. He says the men shot from atop a tower above the site and from atop the mound. The shooting began because contractors wanted to disperse the crowd, he says, but it was unclear why they continued to shoot as people were walking away. The camera does not show who was shooting or what was being shot at, but the contractor who filmed the video says he watched another contractor fire at the Palestinians and then saw a man about 55 meters away in the same direction that the bullets were fired drop to the ground. The AP cannot independently verify this account. Both contractors say they were armed with pistols, automatic rifles, and some had machine guns. Audio analysis of another video, taken at night, indicated that machine gun fire came from within 115 meters of the camera. The Israeli military says it's not deployed at these aid sites. In response to our reporting, SRS, the company that handles the operation's logistics, acknowledged that it's dealing with large, hungry populations, but said the environment is secure, controlled, and ensures people can get the aid they need safely. SRS says to date there have been no serious injuries on the sites. It says that security professionals had fired live rounds into the ground away from civilians a few times in the early days of the operation as crowd control measures. The GHF says its team is composed of experienced professionals and warned that there were people with a vested interest in seeing GHF fail. UG Solutions, the security company that hired the contractors, said it has an extensive recruiting and training process, including a detailed application process, screening by experts, reference checks, background checks, and weapons proficiency. But the contractors who spoke to the AP painted an entirely different reality. One warned the current GHF system could result in more Palestinian lives being lost in Gaza.
I think you hit one.
in Gaza, we are in Israel on a tourist visa.
Unbelievable.
We are in the country of Israel, in Gaza, carrying weapons
tourist visa.
and doing this,
On a tourist visa.
and doing this, and doing this, and we are there on a tourist visa. If my grandmother wanted to go visit Jerusalem, she would go into Israel on the same way that I did as a contractor with a gun.
Unbelievable. So who is like giving the orders for all the GHF operations?
Breaking news, 2 United States contractors working in Gaza just came forward and confirmed that they are firing live rounds at Palestinians in line for humanitarian aid. The contractors also stated that their colleagues regularly throw stun grenades and pepper spray at Palestinians indiscriminately. They also reported that the security staff hired were often unqualified, unvetted, heavily armed, and seemed to have an open license to do whatever they want. One contractor stated that bullets were fired in every direction, recalling at least one incident where a Palestinian was hit. When asked why they are choosing to come forward, one responded, quote, "Because there are innocent people being hurt, badly and needlessly." They also reported that American staff at the distribution sites monitor those coming to seek food and report anyone, quote, "suspicious" to the Israeli military.
The soldier is Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Aguilar, a Special Forces veteran of the U.S. Army's Green Berets. He's in Washington. I spoke to him from a spot just near the Gaza border.
I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces shooting at the crowds of Palestinians. I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces firing a main gun tank round from the Merkava tank into a crowd of people, destroying a car of civilians that were simply driving away from the site. I witnessed mortar rounds being fired at the crowds of people to keep them controlled.
As a professional soldier with a very long career, what was your professional opinion of what was happening?
My professional opinion of how the sites were established was what I would describe as amateur. Inexperienced, untrained, no idea of how to conduct operations of this magnitude. That would be my most benign assessment. In my most frank assessment, I would say that they're criminal. In my entire career, have I never witnessed the level of brutality and use of indiscriminate and unnecessary force against a civilian population, an unarmed, starving population. I've never witnessed that in all of the places I've been deployed to war until I was in Gaza at the hands of the IDF and U.S. contractors.
Based on the knowledge you have, do you think that you were a witness then to war crimes? I think you're saying that very emphatically.
Without question, I witnessed war crimes. I witnessed war crimes being held by the Israeli Defense Forces, without a doubt, using artillery rounds, mortar rounds, firing tank rounds into unarmed civilians, is a war crime.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Wait. Before you go, for all my subscribers and philanthropists out there, I'm building a solar power community water bowl system in Nigeria. It's going to cost between $5,000 and $6,000. I'm trying to raise money. If you want to participate and help me build this solar power water system, please donate to the Cash App and put solar water in the notes. Solar water in the notes. I'll put PayPal, Stripe, and Zelle. Anyway, thank you. That's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out. Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.